Welcome back, everyone. Today, in this video, I want to briefly discuss one part of our tire maintenance lab that is good information to have, but unfortunately at home, you will not have the ability to do it. That's something called tire rotation. Okay. Now, when we talk about tire rotation, we're not necessarily talking about the rotation of the tire spinning. We're talking about where the tires are located on the vehicle. Right? There's 4 different potential locations for each tire, and it really does matter where each tire is located throughout its life. And so tire rotation simply means, or simply refers to the process of taking all the tires off and rearranging how they fit on the vehicle or where they go on the vehicle. How you rotate your tires will depend on the type of vehicle, specifically what kind of drivetrain it has. It may also, you may also rotate your tires based on the age of the tires. So there's a few different factors that come into play. But I want to talk about briefly what that looks like for some specific vehicles. And in front of you here on my camera, I've got a printout that shows the 3 main types of rotation patterns. All right. The first one is right over here on the left. This is called a, well, I suppose it's a rearward cross is what this document refers it to as. This is used for rear and 4-wheel drive vehicles. So you're talking your pickups here. Okay, pickups. We're talking large SUVs. Okay. Pretty much any vehicle that is primarily a rear-wheel drive vehicle, so like a large SUV, my Ford Expedition is primarily a rear-wheel drive vehicle unless I kick it into 4-wheel drive. Therefore, we're going to follow this rearward cross. Now, in a rear cross, well, I should back up a little bit. When we're looking at tire rotations, we're really trying to compensate for which tires get the most wear. Typically, the tires that get the most wear are those that are transmitting power to the road. So on my Ford Ranger, my pickup, the rear tires will usually wear out faster than the front tires because the rear is where most of the power is coming down to the ground. On those rare occasions that I've got the front wheel drive on the 4-wheel drive, the front are transmitting power, but 99% of the time it's just the rear tires. And so they will wear down faster. That tread will wear down faster. And so to rotate these tires, first thing we're going to do is take all the tires off. Okay, I like to start by taking all the tires off and just laying the tires on the ground next to the hub that they came off of. Then the 2 rear tires will come straight forward into the front. So my left rear tire will now become my new front or front left tire, rear right, front right. The front tires then get crossed. Okay, so my right front tire becomes my left rear, and my left front becomes my right rear. Okay, this does a couple things. This maintains adequate wear. It will keep these 2 original front tires wearing down approximately the same as our 2 original rear tires. Okay, another type of pattern that you can use for those rear wheel and 4-wheel drive vehicles is this X pattern, where simply all 4 tires cross the center of the vehicle. So you create an X with each set of tires. Personally, this is the cross that I use most of the time, and I've never noticed any issues. So you can do with what you will. This is an option. The next type of cross pattern is for front wheel drive vehicles. Okay, so we have front wheel drive vehicles, or primarily front wheel drive vehicles. So we're looking at cars. Okay, most of your passenger sedans or passenger cars will be front wheel drive vehicles. Okay, we're looking at small SUVs that are primarily front wheel drive. So, example here, once upon a time, I had a Chevy Equinox. Okay, this vehicle was an all-wheel drive vehicle. What Chevy meant by that is that power primarily transmitted to the front wheels, but it had a dynamic switching system that when the car detected wheel slip, it automatically routed power and engaged the rear wheel drive. Okay, so again, 99% of the time it was the front wheels transmitting power, but it was an all-wheel drive vehicle. Okay, in this case, the frontward cross, we take the front vehicle or the front wheels. Okay, remember those are the wheels that are getting most of the force from the drivetrain. Those wheels will come straight back, and the rear wheels will cross. Okay, so the left rear becomes the right front, the right rear becomes the right front. Okay, this handout here, I actually got it off of TireRack.com. TireRack.com. They sell a lot of tires. Here they recommend that this X pattern cross may also be used for front wheel drive vehicles. If I'm honest with you, I've not done a lot of research into that. I haven't talked to many mechanics on whether that's true or what they prefer. But I do know that these are the two standardly accepted tire rotation patterns. Okay? Again, in all of this, when in doubt, talk to your mechanic. Find yourself a good mechanic that you can trust and that trusts you to bring work to them. My local mechanic here in town, he understands that, yeah, a lot of this little stuff, oil changes, tire rotations, I'm going to do myself. But if there's an issue that I encounter that I don't understand or that I'm struggling with, he's the first person that's going to get my business. You keep your mechanics happy, and you save yourself a little money that way. Okay. Now, the one thing I haven't talked about here with tire rotations is physically showing you, physically demonstrating how to do it. The reason I'm not going to demonstrate that is simply because I don't want you to do it at home, at least for a school project. There are so many things that come into here from properly lifting a vehicle to properly getting those tires put back on to getting the proper torque settings. That's just not something I want to show you over a video. I want to show you that in person if and when we get that opportunity. So just keep that in mind. This is more for your information. Okay. Kind of let's get back here to tire rotations, kind of some other big picture items. One big question is, well, how often should I rotate my tires? Okay, how often should I rotate my tires? Couple places you can look for that. One, your owner's manual will give you a good maintenance interval for tire rotations. If maybe you don't have the owner's manual, or maybe the owner's manual doesn't say, typically what I do is I will go every 6,000 to 7,000 miles between tire rotations. Now, there's a reason I picked this, and there's a reason I think it comes into place. For an oil change, the standard interval is like 3,000 miles. Obviously, newer vehicles, that interval has lengthened out. But when that 3,000 mile interval was still commonplace, most people would just say, yeah, every other oil change, rotate your tires. It just keeps it easy. You've already got the car in on a lift. Let's just take the tires off and put them back on at that time. So this is the interval I follow for my Ford Ranger, my 94 Ford Ranger, 3,000 mile oil change, 6,000 mile tire rotation. Okay. Other considerations here, directional tires. Okay, so directional tires are only meant to spin in one way or one direction. You're going to need to maintain that direction when putting them back on. You may need to adjust your tire rotation pattern, especially on the crosses here. It may come down to taking the tire off the rim and remounting the tire on the rim, on a different rim, to make that happen. So directional tires get a little bit iffy. So hopefully this has been helpful. I showed you 3 basic patterns for rotating tires. We talked about what kind of vehicles can be used for each of those patterns. And then we talked about some other considerations to take with those rotations when you're doing them.